What's cracking, people? This is Raw and Uncut, back with a third episode. And if you've watched the first two, thank you. Not getting many views right now, but that's fine. I'm not doing these for the views. I'm just doing it for self kind of gratitude. And it's like therapy. And it's, like the homie said in one of the posts the other day, it's, it's shadow work. And in order to get through something and get past it, you got to talk about it and you kind of got to get it out, get it off. And there's a lot of people that need to hear it too. It's just worth hearing. And maybe it'll help someone else, or maybe it'll let someone else know if they've gone through shit like this, like that, I hope they've made it out, and I hope they're stronger now, and I hope that they got help when they needed it. Because a hard life comes in many ways, shapes, and forms. It's not just gangster shit. It's not just drug dealing or doing crime. There's people that never committed a crime, and they lived kind of rough, but in the streets it's just it's messed up. But this is episode 3, and this one we're simply going to call it the Rawkhouse. And this is my fucking first introduction into the drug game, into rock, cocaine, coke, marijuana, and mainly that was the gist of it at that time, which was 1992, summer of 1992. I was introduced to it, and I had just got out of juvenile hall for a car theft. I served a few months there in CK Wakefield, Fresno, California juvenile hall, back in 91 and a little bit in 92. And I got out, and when I had went to the juvenile hall, my mom was living at our house on Tyler and Fresno Street. Well, during the time that I ended up going to juvenile hall, to the time that I got out, my mom had got kicked out of the house right there on Tyler in Fresno Street, 2531 East Tyler. We got her kicked out. We had tagged up the whole house. Friends of mine that came over, my brothers were tagged all over the house. So there was graffiti all over the house. There was bulldogs on the front of the house, you know what I'm saying, in the Magnum 44 marker, real big on the front where the address was. Right under it, it said bulldogs on the damn house. This was 1992. So while I was in juvenile hall, my mom got kicked out by the owner because we just brought a lot of drama there. She ended up couldn't rent anywhere else. She ended up having to rent at a motel. So she had been at the motel for a few months. Sahara Motel used to be across from the park. Now I think it's called Hotel California or something like that, down there on Belmont and Weber. Right there, there used to be the little video store right there across from the Triangle gas station. Used to be right there. There's a muffler shop before you go under. If you're gonna go right by the Intimo, you know what I'm saying? Those in Fresno, you know where the Intimo is. When you take it coming off of Belmont, we used to stay in that motel right across from the Intimo. Right across from the Intimo, I could see people. You know what I'm saying? So when I got out of juvenile hall, my mom was staying there. I was just like getting introduced to the game without even trying to. My mom didn't want me to go nowhere because this was my second time doing a little stint in juvenile hall for car theft. And the judge had told me that if I came back after that, I was going to YA. So with all my friends and homies I grew up with, family, whatever, close people that all went to prison, all went to YA, managed to be smart about it and say, all right, when I got out and I started kicking it outside this motel, like where we lived, it used to be called Sahara Motel, but now it's called Hotel California out there. I had a little boombox and I had 3 tapes. I had Mac Dre's album, California Living. No, What's Really Going On. It was What's Really Going On, my bad. I had California Living on that, but it was What's Really Going On. And then I had, I think it was NWA. I had the NWA, E Phil for Sagging. Some say Ends for Life. I had that one, and I had an Easy E one. And, just used to sit there outside on the boom with the boombox. My mom didn't want me leaving anywhere. I'm 15 going on 16. She don't want me going nowhere. She's afraid I'm gonna get in trouble. Now we're living in this motel. My other brother, Ruben, he's in a group home. And it's just me, my brother Hector, my sister Jess, and my sister Gina with my mom in that motel room right there at the Sahara across from the Intimo. And so I would just sit come outside. We were upstairs. I would just come outside and sit right there on a chair or by the stairs going down. I would sit there with my little boombox and play my tapes. I had the Chronic as well. And I would just play those tapes and watch the movement at night. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't do nothing. It was summertime. There was no school. There was no nothing. I had to wait for court, school, all that. So I'm just staying awake all night, watching all this shit, and eventually end up talking to some of these guys from Mexico that were from Michoacan. They were from Guerrero, Acapulco, some from Jalisco that were there in this motel, some as a group. All the guys from Guerrero, Acapulco, there were one group. It was like 6 of them. And those are the dudes that introduced me to it. But there were some other guys from Mexico that started renting their separate rooms. This guy named Freddie, this guy named Juan. We started to talk to those dudes because they were from Mexico, and like Mexico, as in like the Acapulco Guerrero guys, they were more like beach dudes. You know what I'm saying? They were like water people. They were just different. They had like a swag about them. Cool as fuck, cool people. But I didn't end up doing business with them. I ended up doing business with the Mexican homies. They were like rancho guys, rancho style dudes. You know what I mean? From ranches and shit like that. And those are the people we started doing business with. Well, me, I started talking to about stuff, and one of the homies, that we started talking to, ended up talking to my sister, who was a year younger than me. She was 14, and this dude, his name was Juan, and he was about a year older than me. We started talking to him because my brother would see dude parking over there on the other side by the Intimo and walking around by the muffler shop when Ruben would come on a furlough from the group home. And Ruben just started talking to this guy randomly. My brother Ruben just started talking to this dude. We just see him park from the top. You could see everything by the Intimo and everything. He had a hell of a perfect view. So we just sit up there, and you know what I mean. I can keep it real. Miss Lynn's, she's passed away. My mom's passed away. My mom used to watch, like, what I'm saying, how we got connected to these people, the dealers and shit, is we got so connected with them that they got the room under us, like the dudes from Guerrero Acapulco. Like, we never did business with them when it came to the dope game, but did business with them as in watching their backs. We had a room right on top of them, and we could see everything up there. So they would tell us, hey, if you see the Hura police pulling in anywhere through the back of the front, just bang 3 times on the roof, and we'll hear it, and we'll know. We could jump out the back window and go. So my mom did security for them, and they would pay my mom like $50 a night to do security there. Just watch, and we sit out there. So the dude Juan, in his own room, we started doing business with him. He ends up talking to my sister, and my sister and him get real tight. My sister gets pregnant, and he helps us get up out that motel because he's hustling out there, and he's showing us the game. He's showing us the game little by little, like just showing us the sack, what it was. It was rock cocaine, and how much he paid for it and all that. And then when he got with my sister and he moved us up out of there, we ended up moving to the spot over there on Orchard, in between Orchard and what is it, Angus. It used to be called the Hawaiian Gardens back in the 80s and 90s. It was called Hawaiian Gardens, first in Clinton area by Radio Park, by Weldon and Orchard and all that. It's a big old complex that goes from one starts from one side of the block and goes to the other side. All in the middle, you got parking on both sides, but it's a pretty big unit. And back then, had just been raided, and it was under new ownership. They just cleaned it up, so there was a lot of empty apartments there. Well, my brother-in-law now, his name's Juan. He's my brother-in-law now. He had a hookup there with somebody. He knew the lady that was the manager there was an older Mexican chick named Lola. She was a heavyset chick, big old chick. She was almost like 400 pounds, couldn't walk. She was really cool and everything, pretty lady, but she was real heavy. And so he knew her, so she let him get the apartment. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath apartment there. And so he moved us from the motel to the Hawaiian Gardens. Well, when we came to the Gardens, that was my introduction to the Rawkhouse, to the dope house. You know what I'm saying? To the dope spot, the literal dope spot, like not a corner, not somebody's backyard, not just out there anywhere, an actual house that was rented out to sell dope out of. And it was my brother-in-law and a friend of his. This dude was from Chiapas. We used to call him Freddie, but that wasn't his real name. None of these guys use their real name. Like Juan's name ain't even Juan. We found out it was like something else. None of these guys ever used their real name. It was always a Juan, a Jose, you know, Juan, Jose, Jorge. It's always a Rafa, you know, a simple name. But then you would meet some dudes and they would tell you their real name. But we got up out there and you know, my brother-in-law just tells me one day, he's like, hey, you know, we went to Avocado Lake. And we went to Avocado Lake. And while we were out there swimming and stuff, and he was doing, you know, carne asada with his homies, other guys from Mexico that came over and whatever, and that went to prison and then crossed again, and now they met up, and they're all chilling right there. And he comes over and tells me, hey, you know, we just got this dope house on McKinley and West, right there. The apartments on next to the Esquire Liquor, the apartment on the bottom right there, right off of McKinley. He's like, we just got that one, and we're gonna sell dope out of it. You know what I mean? Do you want in? Do you want a job? I said, fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't making no money and I seen people having stuff. I wanted to have stuff. And I said, fuck yeah. And he goes, all right. He goes, tonight when we get back, take a shower, get ready, and I'm going to drive you over there. I'm going to introduce you to the other guy that I'm going to have running, the guy that's going to be running it for Freddie, because it was Freddie and Juan's dope house. They both got it together. And Freddie was from Chiapas. Juan was from Guanajuato, Leon, Guanajuato, you know, where the mummies are from. That was my brother-in-law. But we're going to have to go to a second part because the video is cutting me short on time. But you know what I'm saying? Once we moved to Hawaiian Gardens, we went to Avocado Lake. We had that conversation. He's going to take me to the house later, you know what I'm saying, to get plugged in, to learn about this life and move forward. And that's what I did. So this is going to be a part one, and I'm going to do a part two on it and go from there. So don't go away. Tune into the part two. I'll see you then, and I'm going to remember where I was at. All right. All right, we're going to stop this one.